You ready?
Welcome back to Between Two Cheeks. I am Stacy Heller, getting less Brazilian curious by the episode. And of course, I am joined by master esthetician and owner of Sweet Bee Hair and Skin Lounge, Brooke Kennedy.
Hello.
Here we are. So,
are you feeling sassy today?
I am feeling sassy.
I got my high pony. I'm feeling a little sassy. That's
look-
because of our episode name.
It's basic bitch, which it's more like this. It's basic bitch. That's right. Bring in major attitude, because honestly, that's the only thing that I have to bring to this episode. So this is an episode where we're learning about stuff. So like you, I'm along for the ride. So with that, Brooke, what are we talking about?
We're going to talk about the different stages of hair growth, as well as why it's important to be on a maintenance schedule in between your Brazilian appointments. So we love to see people back every 4 to 5 weeks. And the reason why is that we have 3 different stages of hair growth. We have the anagen stage, where it is growing and active. And when you remove the hair in the anagen phase, that is what keeps it damages the follicle, and that's what retards the growth.
Okay.
So it's important. That's the only time where you're going to get the great results, is if you're removing those anagen hairs.
Okay.
And the anagen phase is 4 to 6 weeks. So now you see why it's so important to come every 4 to 6 weeks.
Versus
But
every
for
50
maintenance,
years.
it's every 4 to 5 weeks.
So if you come in every 50 years, what is that stage?
You're just
Atrophy?
not going to get that reduction, you know?
Got it.
You'll get it immediately, but then it's all going to be back probably by 8 weeks.
Look at that. Something I bounce back from. Okay.
Correct.
So that is that 4 to 5 week stage that is ideal for training.
Then you have the catagen phase, and you'll get some results if you're moving the hairs that are in that catagen phase. That's the transitional phase. And then you have telogen phase, and that is where they are ready to shed. So you really need to have results. You're going to get results when you're removing it only. The only time it's ever going to retard that hair is in the anagen phase of hair growth.
Okay.
Did you know that there is such a thing as trichology and trichologists? Trichology is the study of hair as well as scalp.
I'm like, tricky.
And they help,
That's what I know.
and they actually help people with hair loss and various things, because people will come in and we'll see hirsutism, and that is when they have excessive hair growth.
Yes. I looked up that word actually.
And you'll have alopecia, and that can just happen. You know, like some people actually have alopecia where they just don't grow any hair, but some people just brought on by stress or other factors, they'll have temporary hair loss. It could be in their eyebrows or different areas on their head.
Interesting. So then question, if you are going through cancer treatments and stuff, the study of that and why all of this happens, does that have anything to do with, like, do you learn about that in trichology class?
That is an excellent question. I have
Thank
no idea.
you.
I do know that, because you know that I am oncology trained,
Yes, she is.
that I have clients that say, this is the best ever. I didn't even have to go through a Brazilian wax in order to get the results of not having hair. So I do have clients that have gone through chemo treatments where they do lose their pubic hair.
Okay. There's a lot more to hair.
Well, remember, you didn't even know that your hair can be straight or wavy or curly.
Yeah, she's referring to
there.
pubic hair.
Yeah.
by the way. Not like,
Hair on your
because I'm like, I mean, my hair has been straight and curly and wavy and even, dare I say it, like fuzzy.
And you know, there's different types of hair. So when you're removing terminal hair is like your head of hair. Your underarms grow the terminal hair,
Okay.
as well as your pubic hair. But then you also have vellus hair. You know, that's like the peach fuzz.
Right.
So there's different types of hair. And there's a lot going on with just the hair follicle. So you actually have the follicle, and then you have the papilla, which is like the blood is supplying it. So that's in the dermis layer of the skin, because you've got 6 layers of epidermis, and then you have
So that's
the
the
dermis.
stem and the dirt.
Yes.
Right? I'm trying to think of like high school biology.
There's a bulb surrounding the papilla. Then you have your hair shaft through the follicle, but also you have an inner and outer sheath. So I love it when I remove the hair and I can see that the sheath is removed as well. That's pretty cool. I'll show people, like, when I'm sugaring, I'll be like, some people will be like, no, I don't want to see. And others are like, let me see.
Fascinating.
And they can't believe how long. Remember I told you, 4 to 5 millimeters, like in that bikini area. So you get some hair coming
That's
out.
like when you pluck a hair from your chin and you're like, did I get it from the root?
And then there's actually a sebaceous gland that's attached to the hair follicle, and that produces sebum, which is the oil, and that's what conditions your hair. Did you know that? There's a lot going on. We learn a lot in school.
Okay.
When it comes to hair removal.
I feel like this isn't the right place to share that in school I had a nickname that had something to do with sebaceous matter. Not because of anything that I did, but because of my name. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Ask me offline. So nothing about that sounds basic.
No, like it's good to go to a trained professional that knows what they're doing.
Yes.
But the part that is basic is that you want to keep up that maintenance every 4 to 5 weeks. That is the sweet spot, because you want to train those hair growth cycles. So even when you get it done, there's going to be hairs that are kind of just barely pushing through. Like if you were to touch the skin and go against the hair growth, you'll feel it's not breakage. Those are early anagen hair kind of pushing through.
Okay.
So we always tell people, do not tweeze between services, because you're just going to disrupt your hair growth cycles.
Okay.
Everything is a process, and you want to get it trained so that you can have excellent results and a smooth, clean removal.
Okay, now is this true not just for like the pelvic area? Like if you're somebody that, like you mentioned, there are some people that have dark hair on their arms, and like women are super self-conscious about it, or their legs. So is the maintenance schedule and all of this pertain
These
to that as well?
principles apply to all areas of our body, yes. Because the legs, people think that it's going to be a really clean removal afterwards. You know, when you shave, you get that just gloss, kind of beautiful, silky smooth finish. But when you're having the hair removal, because you're going to have those little baby hairs that are barely pushing through, they think it's going to be silky smooth. So I set expectations ahead of time. I said, just so you know, this is not, it's going to look clean,
Sure.
but it's not going to feel how it does when you're shaving, because you know how a lot of razor blades have the multiple blades?
Yeah.
So the first one's kind of picking up the hair, the second one kind of,
Grabbing
gets it a little bit, and then it drops just below the surface, and that's why it's silky smooth. So we're removing it by the root, but we're not able to get that early anagen phase of just those little tiny, tiny baby hairs that are popping through that you can't really see, but you can feel.
And I let me apply my vast scientific knowledge here. It seems like it would almost be like too like small and fragile and thin to grab, so that it's like it gets through. And so that's why it doesn't come up, because there's nothing to cling to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because it's longer in the follicle than it is on the surface. So the sugar or wax, it just can't pick it up.
Like, I mean, I would imagine that you need like something to like really grab.
But you don't want to do that because you're just going to disrupt your hair growth cycle.
Right.
So no tweezing anyways. The only time that we will tweeze is brows. Because even though these still, hair growth stages still apply, if we don't tweeze the brow hairs and make them perfect, they're just going to go home and do it. You know what I mean? So whatever's not removed with the wax, that is one area that we will tweeze and make beautiful because it's on your face. But when it comes to the other areas, you really want to work on training the hair growth.
You need to train your cat. Right? Like, you don't want it to shed at inopportune times. Like, I mean, there's a whole thing about this. Okay.
So the first time that most individuals get it done, it's not always going to be a perfectly, clean, removed area, because you might have just like those little baby hairs. Okay. So if they're only coming in for like a vacation and they're only doing it one time, then I say, well, you can tweeze, because it's not like you're trying to come back,
train it,
and get that maintenance going.
How
and
to train your hair.
Dragon. But if they plan on keeping it up, I used to say, do not touch the area, because it's a process. So sometimes it can take a couple of times to get that smooth, clean removal. And that's why, well, we'll go into that in the next episode about the different types of wax and how those.
Yeah, that's a whole thing too. Now, I got distracted slightly when you were talking about the tweezing and the brow thing. There is a myth out there that if you tweeze your brows, either I've heard two things: it won't grow back, or that it will grow back even thicker and bushier.
Well, I can say that my mother, back when they used to call it junior high, where they say middle school now, but in junior high, there are a lot of girls that will start to tweeze their brows. So when you're younger and the follicle is just young, you can pluck and it may not come back. So my mom did remove her hairs via tweezing back when she was in junior high. And she now has thin eyebrows. Like, they did not come back. Just like some people will get waxed depending, because there's a lot of different factors, hair removal and how often and how fast it's going to, because people will say, you know, how long are these results going to last? But it honestly depends on the individual. It depends on hormones. It depends on your genetics. It depends on medications you might be taking. It depends on the season. So there's just a lot. So everyone gets a different experience. Some people can have it done one time and have amazing results. And then some people have to come back a little bit more, and it takes a while to kind of train the hair growth cycles and get that reduction.
It's trichology.
But
people.
One thing you need to know is that it's important to come back. So some people will say, well, I don't have the hair, because remember I told you you're getting that reduction after getting it done. So they think that it all needs to come back, which can take a couple of months. But no, because you want that reduction and you want to keep up those results, because we are training that hair.
You don't want to come back in when you already have like a flat tire. You want to like maintain the tires on your car.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that just seems like, you know.
So see, it's basic. To break it down, just get your maintenance every 4 to 5 weeks.
Well, and it's basic when you can trust the person that you're going to see, and that they used to do like molecular biology, and they pay attention to these things. They pay attention to the ologies. So, you know, you really don't want to drive in with, when it comes to training your pet, you really want to go to a specialist. So that wasn't basic, but what was basic is that if you know who you're going to, then you can trust. So.
Absolutely. And just keep up on that maintenance, because you're going to love the results.
Love it. Okay. Well, as I said, I didn't really have much to offer in that particular episode because I don't know my allergies. I stopped after biology. And so that's kind of it for this episode of Between Two Cheeks. When we come back for the next episode, we are going to be talking about, do you know what it is?
More than one way to skin a cat.
That's right. There is more than one way to skin a cat. And we're going to be talking about that. So keep listening, keep watching. Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you. We are Between Two Cheeks.
And we are Sweet Pea Hair and Skin Lounge. So check us out on social media, and we will see you next time.
Thank you.